Good day, everyone. Last week we have discussed about the introduction and assumptions of art, including the elements of visual arts. This week, we will discuss another elements of art, specifically the elements of auditory art. Together with literature, music as an art form is classified as an auditory art. However, some would argue that it is under broad category of performance art because when you sing, you perform. Either way, music, much like the visual arts, has its own building blocks of elements. And that's the reason why separate ang auditory art or ang elements auditory art sa performance art. Perhaps one of the most widespread forms of art whose intersection in daily life is most perceptible is music. Diba? Everyday naadji mga tao nga nag-communion with music. Either naminaw ba silang music or nagkanta-kanta sila. Whether it is for a contest or bisag nagkanta ra ka while naligo. Music is sound organized in a specific time. It is considered an implement to cultural activities, answering a specific role or function. During the times when men had to hunt for food, music was used as a choral to herd animals or as an element of specific rituals or rites. So sa unang panahon, ang mga karaang tao kung makadakop sila og animals or maghunt sila og animals, ilahan ang kantahan, ilang ritualan, okay? Before nila patyon or before nila ihawon. And mauna siya proof nga long before ni-exist na gyud ang music. Music is really part of the lives of the people. Singing or dancing to music was also often included in opportunities for members of society to gather and interact. Sukad pa sa una ang mga katiguangan kung magtapok-tapok sila na agi na siya'y musical instrument nga accompaniment, and then na ay mo kanta, then ay mo sayaw sa yun ana before. Even up until now, nga kung magtapok-tapok, di jud mawa ng mga videoke, na mga gitar-gitar, and so on and so forth. And some are adept with the skill and sense to produce music. Okay, na atay mga composers. Okay, na atay mga musicians. While others consume it as listeners, audiences, and even performers. Okay? Napayuban niya, dili ka maumukanta, dili ka play yung instrument, pero hilig og music, maminaw og music. And then we also have, kung naay mo kanta, ginahan silang mutanaw, audiences. And then, even performers. So, naasay mo perform. If there is an important quality that music has, it is having the capacity to transcend barriers, even that of differences in language or conventions in sound. Even though lahi na siya og language nga gigamit sa music, even though dili na siya made in the Philippines, even though wala ta kasabot sa lyrics, but regardless ug asa na siya gikan ug unsa iyang language, if you listen to the melody of the song and makauyon ka sa iyang tono or ganahan ka sa iyang tono, then you will like that. You will listen to that or even sing that specific song. Different demographics, groups, and individuals may have specific preferences as to the genre of the music. Na lahi-lahi ta og hilig or genre sa music. Like, naiuban nga ginahan og rock, naiuban nga ganahan og country songs, and so on and so forth. However, in order to establish this preference, listeners often take to its elements for its evaluation. In other words, kita sa pagpili na to sa atong genre nga gusto or sa atong hilig, ato di ay gi-consider ang mga elements of auditory art. So, in order to understand nganong kana ka atong hilig nga genre, let us know or let us get to know the common elements of music. First, we have rhythm. Rhythm is often associated with the terms beat, meter, and tempo. Beat is the basic unit of music. For example, when you see a musical piece nga na ay 3/4 time signature, 3/4 yung time signature, meaning to say, there are 3 beats in each measure and the quarter note receives 1 beat. For example, the song Lupang Hinirang, okay? Lupang Hinirang could be sung in 2/4 time signature and 4/4 time signature. But let's use the 4/4 time signature for example. Since 4/4 man siya, meaning to say, 4 beats in each measure, and the quarter note, which is 4, mo na siya, receives 1 beat. Maunang, if makabantay mo kung naay mag-conduct or mag-beat during flag ceremonies, 'di ba? Kung 4/4 time signature ang gamiton, so naay down, in, out, up, down, in, out, up. So mo na siya 4 beats. Do you get my point? Well, the second term, which is tempo, it refers to its speed. When we say speed, meaning to say how many beats per second. Pila ka beats sa kada segundo. Beats can be organized into a recognizable recurrent pattern. And this pattern is what we called as the meter. Naay mga kanta nga kung unsay iyahang beat pagsugod mo rasad hantod mahuman. But there are also songs nga mag-change. Like parehagod kung naay sayaw, for example, ang counting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Meaning, atong una, 3, 4 ang time signature. Pagkatataon na ay 4, 4 ang time signature. So, kato siya nga mga changes, they are organized into a recognizable recurrent pattern which is called the meter. Classical terms are used to refer to the variations in tempo, some of which are the following. Again, when we say tempo, it refers to its speed. So, adto ni siya sa kapaspason or kahiyayaon. First, we have largo. Largo means slowly and broadly. When we say slowly and broadly, meaning to say, it is unhurried and then it portrays a grand manner or a dignified performance or a dignified sound. Next, we have andante. Andante refers to a walking pace, meaning to say this variation of tempo sounds like marching, march. Next, we have moderato. From the word itself, it's in a moderate speed, meaning to say its speed or its tempo or its beats per second is in average amount or in average time. Therefore, the tempo in a moderato variation is sakto lang. Meaning, dili siya paspas, dili siya sadsiyaya. The fourth one is allegro. Allegro is a fast variation of tempo. Meaning to say, the number of beats per second is fast, paspas siya. The next variation is likely similar with allegro, which is the vivace. It's just that this variation refers to liveliness. If igurod gid ka maminaw nila, as in dili nimo siya analyze og tarong ang ilahang sound, maglibog gid ka sa ilang kalihian. But to help you differentiate the two, I'll top the table para madunggan ninyo ang ilahang kalahian. For vivace, it sounds like this. So if you have noticed, lively ang iyahang approach or ang iyahang tempo. Now let's have allegro. And it sounds like this. That's it. Now I hope nga naka-differentiate na mo sa duha. Moving on, let's have accelerando. Accelerando means gradually speeding up. Meaning to say, dili siya ya-ya ra, dili siya paspas ra, kundi from ya-ya, mag-aanam siya o ka paspas. Okay, so that is accelerando. Accelerate. It's just the same with singing happy birthday slowly, then padung paspas, like happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. So nagkaanam siya ka paspas, marami takag na makas nga kakanuno nakakaayo, so ingana siya. And of course, the opposite of accelerando, we have rallientado. Rallientado could also be called as retardando, since it is the opposite, meaning to say it refers to the tempo that is gradually slowing down. Let's have happy birthday gihapon as an example. So we have happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Charot. Ayan na lang mag-focus akong voice quality. Ito na lang mo sa iyahang tempo mismo. Charot. So, mauto siya. Now, let's proceed to allargando. Allargando means getting slower and broadening. Meaning to say, pahinay siya. Like, Rallientado, but the difference is it's broadening, meaning to say it's slower yet louder. And lastly, we have the rubato. Rubato literally rubbed time. Rhythm is played freely for expressive effect. In other words, from the phrase rub time, meaning to say rubato is a give and take in the timing of music. Okay, so that's it. Those are the classical terms that are used to refer to the variations in tempo. I know it's a bit confusing at this time kay wala man mo nakadungog sa exact sound niya o kalahian niya. Don't you worry because in the next activity I will be letting you watch or hear an audio recording about the different variations of tempo. So we are done with the first element of the auditory art, which is the rhythm. Now let's move on to the second element, which is dynamics. So if you're fond of watching mga singing contest, samot sa TV shows, okay, like Tawag ng Tanghalan or unsa pa na ubang mga contest diha. So you keep on hearing this term dynamics. Okay? So dynamics adds beauty in a musical performance or in a song. So what is dynamics? So the element of music that refers to the loudness or quietness of music is what we call as dynamics. And here are the classical terms that are used to refer to the different levels pertaining to this. First, we have pianississimo. Pianississimo with a symbol PP means very quiet. When I said it's very quiet, doesn't mean nga dili na siya madungog. Madunggan gyapon siya, but in a very soft sound. So if naglibog mo nga, unsa way sound aron ma'am, nga very quiet man yan, very soft. So you try to clap using your pointer finger and your middle finger. So kung unsay sound ana, that is an example of a pianississimo. Next, we have the piano, or with the symbol P. It means quiet, meaning to say maguwang ni siya ni pianississimo. How does it sounds like? Well, you clap your hands using your 5 fingers, but since it's quiet, meaning to say it should be very soft. Hinay ra siya nga pagkapakpak, but using your 5 fingers. The third level is mezzo piano or MP. It means moderately quiet, meaning to say it moves one level louder than the piano. Next, we have Mezzo Forte. It means moderately loud. How does it sounds like? Well, when you say Mezzo Forte or moderately loud, kanang more natural nga nakigstorya ka sa imuhang kaatubang. Okay? That is the sound of a moderately loud or a Mezzo Forte. After Mezzo Forte, we have Forte, which has a symbol F. It means loud. So, kusog na ni siya. How does it sounds like? How does it sounds like? Well, it's just like, kana bitaw mangita kasi imong mama ginaubos inyong balay, ma. Okay, so, louder siya gamay compared sa nakigstorya kag normal. And lastly, we have this fortissimo. Okay, it has a symbol FF. It means very loud. So, kani siya, kusog na gyud siya. Mura kag mura kag nanampit sa imong silingan nga layo-layo. Okay? Syagit na gyud ni siya. So if nakamantay mo na yung mga kanta nga kanang samot ang high pitch na bitaw kaayo nga ibuga na jud nila tanan, kay isyagit na nila para makuha nila ang pitch. Okay, so that is an example of fortissimo. When composers indicate an increase in loudness, meaning pasaka or from soft padung loud, okay? That is what we called as crescendo. But if gikan sa loud padung soft or padung sa quiet, that means or that is what we called as decrescendo or diminuendo. Okay, so that was dynamics. Now let's move on to the third element, which is melody. Melody refers to the linear presentation of pitch. So unsa man si pitch? Well, pitch is the highness or lowness of music sound. So mo ni siya ma-identify kung high note ba na siya or low note. Going back to melody, okay, by horizontal, it means that in musical notation, it is read in succession from left to right. In other words, kani si melody mo ni siya mag-ingon og unsa mapasaka ba ang iyahang tono or paubos iyang tono. Like for example, in the song Speechless, okay, Here comes a wave trying to wash me away. So what have you noticed in the song? Okay? Ang nahitabo ito is, nasa average ang level sa pitch, and then nisaka siya, nibalik sa average, then ni down. Okay? So I hope it helps. Okay, so again, that is melody. So when you say melody, in other words, mo na siya ang movements sa notes from left to right inig kanta. The next element of auditory art is harmony. If melody is horizontal, harmony is vertical. Again, unsa gani ng vertical meaning katong pinatindog naka-elevate. It arises when pitches are combined to form chords. So unsa maning chords, ma'am? Okay? So when we say chords, it happens when several notes are simultaneously played, meaning gidungan siya. Unsa may pasabot ato, ma'am, okay? Kaning naay gitawag na tuog blending. So kung naay blending, na siya low, naay average, and naay high. Harmony can be described in terms of its harshness. Ma-describe ko no ang harmony depende sa iyahang ka grabihon. So if it's harsh sounding combination, that is what we call as dissonance. And if it's smooth sounding combination, it is what we call as consonance. Okay? So don't you worry, guys, because I'll be giving you a link or mga video links about these elements. Now let's move on to the fifth element of auditory art, which is timbre. So we keep on hearing this word, no? So what really is timbre? Timbre is often likened to the color of music. So mo ni siya ang color sa music ko, no? Kung sa visual art pa, mo ni siya si color wheel or mo si color or si who. It is a quality that distinguishes a voice or an instrument from another. Dependent on the technique, the timbre may give a certain tone or characteristic to music, much like how a painter evokes different effects or impressions onto the canvas. It is often characterized as the quality, okay? Kung unsay quality sa imong tingog, or what's the quality of the musical instrument, okay? Something like that. So, kung ingon ta nga husky yang tingog, meaning murag karaton, naay uban nga very soft, nga murag pang lullaby ang iyang tingog, na po'y uban nga pang birit. Okay, so mao na siya ang timbre. And lastly, we have the element texture. The number of melodies, the type of layers, and their relatedness in the composition is the texture of the music. So when we talk about texture, there are three variables. We have the number of melodies, and then the type of layers, and their relatedness. It may be monophonic. So, ano maning monophonic? It's a single melodic line. Meaning to say, there is a single pattern. Murag usara ang pattern sa iyahang melody. It may also be polyphonic, which means two or more melodic lines. So, nayuban nga ang iyahang pattern, meaning ang pattern sa iyahang melody or iyahang notes, dili ra isa. Meaning, it could be two or daghan pang klase-klase, meaning utro-utro ang iyahang pattern. And lastly, it could be homophonic. When we say homophonic, the main melody accompanied by chords. So, sa maning main melody? So, meaning there is a single melodic line, pero naa siya accompaniment, naa siya gikuyugan siya og chords. When we say chords, meaning na ay blending. So, again, the 6 elements of auditory art are rhythm, dynamics, melody, harmony, timbre, and texture. Similar to artworks whose style, medium, and technique emphasize some of the elements in visual arts, a composition and genre of music may emphasize the elements of music previously outlined. Some elements may even be de-emphasized or omitted altogether. Like what was mentioned, these elements may be isolated from each other. However, as a visual or musical compositions, the combination of these elements in art is what we initially engage with. Most often, elements do not only coexist in the artwork, but are fused together or overlap with each other. In visual arts, most artworks have overlapping elements. Okay, that's it. We are done with the discussion of the elements of auditory art. If you have questions and clarifications, just comment down below or don't hesitate to notify me in our established group chat. Thank you and have a good day.